Hey, what's up? It's your girl Dom, and if you're watching this video, you're probably like, which neighborhood should I live in if I'm moving to Washington, D.C.? And I'm someone who's a transplant to D.C., so I did not grow up here. I moved into D.C. in August of last year of 2022, and then I lived in Northern Virginia since the end of 2019. So I've been in this general area for about like 3-ish years, and honestly, I really love it here. As you guys can tell, like I have been DC-fied, like I love this area, and I think the biggest question that I get, especially after I posted 2 apartment videos and also like on my TikTok, is like, where should I look if I'm moving to DC? Like, what neighborhood should I look at? And I'm not gonna give you guys a top list because everyone's top list of neighborhoods that they want to live in Washington, D.C. is going to be completely different based on what you like, the layout of the apartment or apartments that you can actually find, and then also the commute to work or commute to different areas in Washington, D.C. There's just so many different factors that go into finding the apartment and neighborhood that you actually want to live in. But I wanted to give you 5 neighborhoods that personally I would live in if I was apartment hunting again and was like moving around. And then also you guys can always do a little bit more research, and I'll leave a lot of resources down below. But my biggest tip before we even get into the neighborhoods is that if you are going to be moving into DC and you are picking a neighborhood, I would do a neighborhood tour. And that just means coming here to visit, pick a hotel wherever, take the metro if you want, and then just like walk around the neighborhood and see if that's the area that you want to live in. Because you can do Google Maps, you can do like Zillow has all like the street ratings and all that kind of stuff, but unless you actually like go there and like see it for yourself, you won't really know if that's like the vibe that you want. And I'm a firm believer in the neighborhood that you pick also can just help you live the life that you want to live. So let me not get philosophical. Let's get into the neighborhoods that you should consider living in if you're moving to Washington, D.C. So the first neighborhood that I have is Eastern Market, and I think Eastern Market is so cute. Every Sunday they have a farmer's market. It's humongous. They also have like the actual Eastern Market where you can walk in and there's like meat being sold, there's beautiful flowers, there's like a breakfast/lunch spot. Amazing. I think this area kind of embodies like relaxation and community. So Eastern Market is located on the Orange Line, and I'm gonna look down at my computer real fast. But yes, it's located on the Orange Line. It's relatively easy to get to. You can pull up apartments.com, like that's where we found most of our apartments, apartments.com and Zillow. Market Lofts Detroit has 4 out of 5 stars, and Marketplace Court also has 4 stars. I would say if you're gonna go look, right, check Google ratings over apartments.com rating, because Google ratings have like better reviews and you get a more honest answer, it feels like, of what the actual like apartment or neighborhood that you're gonna be living in is like. The second neighborhood that I would like to bring up is Noma. I think Noma is a really great neighborhood. Every time I come over here, it is awesome. There is a Trader Joe's, there's a Union Market, there's a whole bunch of coffee shops, there's also access to trails, and it's just a neighborhood area. It's also surrounded by Capitol Hill, which is also another great place. It's not on this list today, but it's also a great place if you can even find an apartment. That's why I literally did not put it on there. If you can find an apartment, Capitol Hill, there's Eckington, which is also a really nice neighborhood to live in, but if you can also find an apartment over there. Noma is a really nice spot, especially if you are someone who is a transplant moving into DC. There are a ton of new hotels and also new apartments that are being built over here. The only cons that you have to think of is the construction. There are a lot of construction in Noma. So the reason why I bring up the fact that there's a lot of apartments being built over here is because of the concession rates. So if you are finding a new apartment, there's 9 times out of 10, honestly, 9.9 out of 10, they're gonna have some pretty good concessions. And what I mean by this is that you're gonna get like a discounted rate on your first year of living there, which is awesome. And then probably some other really great perks. So that's just something to consider and put into perspective. However, the parking in Noma is also a little on the pricier range. So if you are going to bring a car, that's something to think about. I remember when we were touring in this area, a lot of the parking over here was around like $250, like $200 to $250. All right, so if you're gonna be moving to DC and you wanna know which neighborhood to live in, the third neighborhood is Logan Circle. And I bring up Logan Circle because if you move to DC, you're gonna find yourself in Logan Circle at some point in your time here. Like, honestly, you could find yourself in Logan Circle every weekend. So 14th Street is really popular in Logan Circle. It has a ton of restaurants, tons of shopping places to do, and there's just like a lot of events happening. Logan Circle is a very popular spot, and when we were first moving here, I searched and searched, but honestly, I could not find a lot of apartments. But right now, when I'm filming this video and when it goes up, there are a ton of apartments that you can look at, and there's also apartments that are not by like big management companies, but like smaller management companies. So I'm not really sure how that works. However, you can probably find some more information online, but I don't want to give you any misinformation because that's totally unfair. But I'm pretty sure you can find some pretty good deals on apartments.com. It seemed like everything was around the 2,200 and less range. So that is pretty good. The closest metro stop in Logan Circle is Mount Vernon Square, or it's Howard. And those are both yellow and green. And truthfully, it's still a walk, but it's pretty close. Like, it's still a walk from those metro stops to 14th Street and just Logan Circle in general. However, it is there, and yellow is closed right now. From when I post this video, yellow is closed right now, but it will be open up in the spring, just so you know. Because right now I think blue is running through all of that. There's a lot. I will link some more resources to why the yellow line is closed. But that is something to know. But this neighborhood is full of activity. And if you are someone who is leaving your town to move to DC so that you can have a more adventurous day or adventurous lifestyle, and that is a great area to be exactly where it is. Also, it makes it so much easier when friends and family are coming to visit, because then you can just like hop downstairs or go for a short little walk and you're already there. Neighborhood 4, I'm gonna get so much hate for this, but you know what? I don't really care. There's like pros and cons. There is also a bad reputation for this place. So I would say Navy Yard is a place that you could consider living in. And I tell people this when they're moving to DC, because a lot of the apartments that I saw that were like when we were looking were actually located in Navy Yard, and they were like really nice apartments, like floor to ceiling windows, beautiful hardwood flooring, great amenities, and they were like brand spanking new, like no one lived in them. And Navy Yard has a reputation of being literally like Orange Man Central. So that is something to consider. However, the overall neighborhood and area of Navy Yard, outside of those external factors, is really pretty and really nice. And I really enjoy running over there. Personally, for me, I love looking out at water. I grew up like 20 minutes away from the beach. I could just drive over there, look at the beach, relax, see the ocean, and then come back. And I kind of like being around bodies of water. So when we were touring Navy Yard and considering living there, it was like, oh wow, you have literally nature, you have some great trails, you have proximity to Vita, which is one of the franchise gyms over here that's like really fancy, luxurious gyms, close to like an Equinox in a way, but just like a little bit less expensive, or maybe it's like the same, but it's a little bit less expensive. And it was just something that like, for that kind of atmosphere, yes, like that was nice. It's also on the Green Line. It's like the Navy Yard stop is the Green Line. The biggest con about living in Navy Yard, outside of its reputation for being like Orange Man Central, is that it's kind of like disconnected from DC. So it's in Southeast DC, right before you cross over the river, and it's also where the national, like the Capitals, like baseball team plays. But it's like in its own like secluded area. So there's like, when everyone's like, oh, you wanna like go to Navy Yard, it's like a hike. That's something to think about when you are moving, but I'm not gonna hold you. They have Circa, and I really like Circa. There's also one in Foggy Bottom, but I like the one in Navy Yard better. And it has some pretty good coffee shops over there as well. If you are considering moving to Navy Yard, it has some really nice apartments. They even have this loft apartment that I would have died to have, but it got literally taken away right when we got there. It was like, just gone. And I wanted to live there so bad, but we didn't end up getting it. So kind of why we didn't choose Navy Yard, but either way. All right, the last one on my list is Adams Morgan, and Adams Morgan also has my heart, and I would love to own a home in Adams Morgan, but if you can't buy a home right now because DC prices are so freaking expensive, Adams Morgan is a great place to look at apartments and a neighborhood to live in. One, the restaurants there are just really good. Granted, it is like out of the way in terms of like metro stop, but it's such a nice area. They have great restaurants, they have great events, they have jazz nights, they have karaoke nights. Like Adams Morgan is just like full of things to do, restaurants, good coffee, all the things that you could think of, Adams Morgan has. So I'm telling you, if you can find an apartment there, that is a great place to live. I would also say that the reason why I was like, oh, it's kind of out of the way is because of the metro stop. And the metro stop is Woodley Park in Adams Morgan, but it's like closer to the Smithsonian Zoo. So when you get here, it's kind of like, it's a walk to get to like Admo. Like it's like a walk. However, that stop is right next to the zoo. So if you want to do like a little mental health day and you want to just like relax, you could just like take the metro to Woodley Park and go to the zoo. It's free. It's my favorite thing to do. But either way, it's a wonderful place to live if you can find an apartment. The metro line, however, is probably the biggest con of that area. However, you can take the bus. You can use that mode of transportation if you want to. And if you go visit and tour that neighborhood and find an apartment, I'll be so jealous, but I'll also be so happy for you and you'll love it. That is it for neighborhoods that you could consider living in if you are moving to Washington, D.C. I really hope that this helped you, and if it did, that makes me literally so happy. I don't know how many more videos I'll be making on apartments and neighborhoods in DC, just because I personally am not looking at apartments at the moment. Like I have this lease for basically 2 years, so I will not be looking at apartments until like 2024. Hopefully I'll be looking for a house, guys. But either way, I'll take you guys along on that journey. But if you have any questions whatsoever, please let me know. I will do my best to answer them. And make sure you subscribe to my channel for DC Recs, things to do, and just overall how to balance life, social, work, all that stuff as a 20-something in Washington, DC. I am so excited for you to be here, and I hope this really answered your question. So have fun. I hope you move to Washington, DC, and yeah, have a good day, and I will see you later. Bye.